Alright, so if we look at number 1, you see if the figures below are similar, find the scale factor from B to A. So we're going from figure B, which is our smaller triangle, to figure A, which is our larger triangle. So in order to figure out what the scale factor is, look at the smallest side of B. I've got 9, and then the smallest side of A is 27. So I can make 9 27ths here. Then if I look at my next to the largest size, I'll have 16 on my B, and then I'll have 48 on my A. So I've got 16 and 48. Then if I look at the largest side of each triangle, that'll give me 20 and 60. So if you'll notice, on each one of these, I started at B and went to A because that's the scale factor that it asked for. Looking at this first one, I can reduce this by 9. 9 into 9 and 9 into 27. 16 48ths I can reduce by 16. 16 into 16 and 16 into 48. And then 20 over 60 I can reduce by 20. 20 into 20 and 20 into 60. Each corresponding side reduces down to the exact same scale factor, so that tells me that this is indeed a similar set of triangles. So my scale factor, it can be written as a fraction, 1/3. It can also be written with the colon, 1 3, and we can use the word 2, 1 2 3. So this is your scale factor from B to A. If it had asked from A to B, of course it would have been 3 to 1. But because it said B to A, the smallest to the largest is 1/3. Now, looking at number 2, you've got triangle PQR is similar to VST. With a scale factor of 2 to 5, we want to find X. So I look at my similarity statement and I see that QR corresponds to ST. So you see I've colored those for you right here. So that's the only side that I'm given on this little triangle. So I'm going to put X over 28. Now I need another ratio over here, but I wasn't given any other numbers. However, I was provided with a scale factor of 2 to 5. So I can use that as my other ratio. And then use your proportion solving skills and solve 5 times X. Over here you got 28 times 2, which is 56. Now to solve for X, we're going to divide both sides by 5. Okay, if you divide 5 into 56, it's going to go 11 times, and then you have a remainder. So this decimal will actually terminate because you're dividing by 5. 56 divided by 5 is 11.2. So that's going to be our answer. Remember, it's okay for you to use a decimal as long as it terminates. If it's a repeating decimal, make sure you leave it in fraction form. So that's the first 2 problems. Let's look at the next one. Okay, I've got triangle ABC is similar to AVW. I've already color-coded everything for us. AB here, and then AV in the blue. Those are corresponding sides. BC, which you will see down here at the bottom, goes with VW, which you will see up here at the top. They're both pink. And then I've got AC, which is right here in orange, goes with AW, which is right here in orange. So we're going to find the values of X and Y. We need to find the corresponding sides that have 2 numbers because we don't have a scale factor. And that's going to be our pink ones. Okay, so we got ABC is similar to AVW. If you do small to large here, 10 to 16, that's going to be my first ratio. Now let's figure out our X. Okay, X is orange, so I'm going to put X over 28. Let's use this and do a cross product. We have 10 times 28, that's going to be 280. And then we have 16 times X, which is 16X. To solve, we're going to divide both sides by 16. Okay, so 280 divided by 16 is going to give us 17.5. Now that's a terminating decimal, so once again, perfectly okay. So we have solved for X and found it to be, right here, 17.5. Now let's solve for Y. Now Y is going to be on our blue. So once again, if we do 10 over 16 like we did before, I went from the top triangle to the bottom triangle. When we do blue, I've got to do top to bottom, or 12 over Y. So let's do a cross product. We have 10 times y, which is 10y. And next, we're going to have 16 times 12. That's going to give us 192. And once again, let's divide, but this time we'll divide by 10, and we'll get y is equal to 19 and 2/10. Now this is another terminating decimal, so it's fine. Remember, we love terminating decimals, but we want to use fractions for our repeating decimals. So on this third problem, we have x is equal to 17 and 5/10, y is equal to 19 and 2/10. Okay. So our next sets of problems, I've color-coded those for you as well. So we're finding x on this first one, but if you'll notice, both sides have x's, don't they? All right, so I noticed that QR, where I had 8, is going to correspond to TV, where I have x minus 3. Then PR, where I have 14, corresponds to UV, which is where I have x plus 6. So when I create my proportions, I'm going to go from small to large, everybody. So if I start with my orange, I'm going to do 8 over x minus 3. Now, since I started with 8 on this one, I have to start with 14 on this one. So I'll do 14 over x plus 6. And now, let's do our cross product. We're going to have to multiply 8 to an entire addition problem. So put that x plus 6 in parentheses. Then we'll do 14 times x minus 3. And again, put that in parentheses as well. Because you're not just multiplying to the x, you're multiplying to this whole denominator. And again, you're not just multiplying 14 to x, you're multiplying it to the whole denominator. So we have 8 times x, which is 8x. And then we have 8 times 6, which is a positive 48. Now here we have 14 times x, which is 14x. Then we have 14 times, don't forget that minus, 14 times negative 3 is a negative 42. Okay, so you'll see we have a variable on the left and the right. It's always better for us to move the smaller one so that we can try to avoid negatives. It doesn't always work, but we could try. 8x minus 8x cancels out beautifully, and on the left side we're left with a positive 48, so just bring it down. Next, you've got your equal sign. 14 minus 8 is 6x, and then bring down that minus 42. Now let's add 42 to both sides to solve for x. Oops, I put an 8, that's a 2. Okay, so 48, 50, it's going to give us 90. Is equal to, these two cancel out, giving us 6x. Divide both sides by 6. So we have 90 divided by 6, which is 15. Now, if you'll notice, the direction says find the value of x, and that's exactly what we have done. Some questions might ask you to find the length of the side where you'll have to plug in the value after you've finished, and I believe that's what you're going to see in the next problem, okay? So always pay attention to what the directions are reading. On the next one, I went ahead and filled in the colors for you. The G is cut off over here in the corner, so I wrote that in. You'll have to write that in on your paper as well. So I know that GE, which I see right here, corresponds to CE, which you have right here. Those are both orange. Okay, then I've got FE, which you see right here in blue, and then I notice that goes or corresponds to BE, which you see on the other side is blue. It asks us to find FE. FE is this side right here, but before I can find FE, I've got to figure out what X is. So let's set up our proportion. With the orange, I've got 60 and 24. Let's write those down. Okay, so right here I'm going to put 60 over 24. Now if you go back and you look at your blue, I've got 4x minus 1. Because I put 60 first, I've got to put the 4x minus 1 first, over x plus 5. So 4x minus 1 over x plus 5. Let's do our cross product. We've got 60 times x plus 5 is equal to 24 times 4x minus 1. And again, those x plus 5s and 4x minus 1s have got to be in parentheses. So let's distribute. We've got 60x plus 300 is equal to 96x minus 24. Don't forget that minus sign. Now, once again, I'm going to subtract the smaller x to move it to the other side. And that's going to give me a cancel right here. Bring down the 300. 96 minus 60 gives me 36x, and then minus 24. So I'm just left with any two-step equation now. Let's get everything away from the x by doing an inverse operation. So that's going to give me 300 plus 24 is equal to 36x. Let's divide both sides by 36. Okay, 324 divided by 36 is plain old 9. So we get x equals 9, but that is not the answer to the question. The question is asking find FE. FE is right here, this top blue, which is 4x minus 1. So FE is equal to 4x minus 1, which is going to be 4 times 9 minus 1. So I'll have 36 minus 1, which is 35. So FE is equal to 35 units. So again, make sure you always read the question and answer the question. Don't just solve for x and quit. All right, now the last one, you'll see right here, we've got SE, which is pink. That little one goes with ST, which is the big one, and I had to fill in that length for us. Then we've got DE, which is my purple, my little purple, goes with WT, which is my big purple, okay? So let's go ahead and set up our proportions. I'm going to do 40 over 4x minus 3. That's my little pink to my big pink. Then I'm going to do 56 to 5x plus 3. That's my little purple to my big purple. And we're finding WT, which is going to be my big purple. So once again, we're just going to solve proportions. So 40 times 5x plus 3 is equal to 56 times 4x minus 3. So let's distribute here and here. That's going to give us 200x plus 120 is equal to 224x minus 168. So let's go ahead and move this small one first. Minus 200x minus 200x. Okay, these two give me 0, so I'm going to bring down my 120. Okay, right here, 224 minus 200 is 24x, and bring down the minus 168 with it. So now we're going to solve for x by getting rid of everything with it. So to get rid of minus 168, we're going to add 168 to both sides. So that'll give us 882 equals, that's a 0, so I've got 24x. These two cancel out to 1. 1x is x, and I have 288 divided by 24, which is 12. But again, that's just x. That's what x is. The question is, find WT. WT is my long purple side right here, so that's going to be my 5x plus 3. So WT is equal to 5x minus 3, which is 5 times 12 minus 3. 460 minus 3, which is 57. So WT, oops, this is moving on me, is equal to 57 units. And that is our